This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is going to be a legendary mousepad roundup. I can just tell you that your expectations for a mousepad video, this is going to blow you out of the park. We have just tons of mousepads that I have not talked about on my channel yet and have been promising reviews on for months. The Yuki Aim Mousepad, Padsmith Mousepad, the Lethal Gaming Gear Mercury. This one's been out for like 6 months. I just haven't reviewed it. The Pulsar Paracontrol V2, the colored Odin Infinities, and the Odin Infinity V2, and even more mouse pads that I just do not have on the desk at the moment. So absolute insanity. Not going to give a full review, but I will talk about the mouse pads. I have the dedicated mousepad testing zone. I thought about the logistics of this video, so I'm going to do a lighter test, show off how the base is for each mousepad, and just give you some quick info that you need to know. So first up is going to be the Yuki Aim Mousepad, probably the most unique because of the base that it uses. This is a pour-on base, similar to what Artisan mousepads use. The Yuki Aim base, which is this pad, looks very similar to Artisan mid bases, but the Artisan soft base does look slightly different, and the Yuki Aim pad is very firm. I'll do a lighter test right now. You can see the pad does not have much plush. Patented super light press down test, can't forget that. Doesn't really sink into the pad at all. So this is a mousepad that I can't really recommend you to buy. It's a 450 by 400 mousepad, and it's $50. At that point, I would really just recommend getting a Hien, slightly better quality, larger size, and like $15 more, because this pad, it's obviously expensive due to the base it's using. I presume if it was even larger, the cost would go up more. So you do get a controlled hybrid pad surface, one of the slower Hien clone type pads out there. I'll do a little glide test right now. You can see the pad has a lot of control, relatively high static friction, controlled dynamic friction. So it's a solid, completely usable mouse pad. The stitching is low profile and pretty soft. I did have some issues with it fraying in a few places, but nothing I was really concerned about. Also, the performance of the base is honestly incredible. It's completely stuck to my desk, caused no issues in game. And this is a high quality mouse pad, but the 450 by 400 millimeter size and the price of it just makes it hard to recommend over a Hien. I'll try to show the size difference. I think I have a good angle for it, because you just get more mousepad with the Hien, and for the price, I think the Hien is a worthwhile investment. Moving on from the Yuki Aim pad, I'm going to now talk about the Padsmith Mousepad, which is honestly extremely underrated. You barely see anybody hyping this mousepad up, but in reality, it is one of the only mousepads with a base that is comparable to Artisan X Soft, and the texture feels almost like the new X-Ray Pad Aqua Control 2, a somewhat fine texture but a speed surface. But if you apply pressure into the base, you can get control. I found this mousepad to be extremely good with glass skates, but obviously PTFE as well. It has a smooth feeling, not really a rough and textured glide, and the pad is very mildly abrasive, but like I said, just that fine texture and a speed surface. Really impressive. There's also a design on it, but the pad's not coated. The stitching is very good as well. It is not 100% flush with the surface, but mousepad stitching is getting really good nowadays, to the point where there's not many that are going to be causing abrasion on your wrist when you do movements, and this certainly does not do that. But what's really impressive about this pad is the plushiness combined with a speed surface, because outside of Artisan, you don't really get bases with that much give in them, and the base itself is not the best I have ever used. The base is just natural rubber, which is pretty standard, and it doesn't stick especially well. It doesn't compare to anything like Artisan bases or just pour on foam, but it's fine enough, honestly. It didn't cause any problems in game. And overall, I think the mousepad is very good performance-wise with all types of mouse skates. I just like the feeling of it in faster-paced games especially. The size is good, 490 by 420, same exact size as Artisan, 4 millimeters thick. And it's just a very comfortable mousepad to use, in my opinion. if you want something that is faster but still has stopping power. It's $40, but you can tell that the company really had control over every aspect of the pad, and they do have that design on it. So it's definitely worth looking into, in my opinion. Underrated mouse pad, but gonna move on from it to now the Lethal Gaming Gear Mercury, which is basically just your run-of-the-mill Hien clone. The reason I didn't review it for so long is because I was just on an anti-black square crusade. But since then, I've come to my senses and have rekindled my joy for talking about mouse pads. So basically, the Lethal Gaming Gear Mercury at $30 is not trying to be better than the Hien, not trying to be a Hien killer. It's just trying to offer a similar experience at the trademarked fraction of the cost. You can see the Mercury has a similar texture to the Hien, but it's not a direct clone. It does not have the exact same feeling to the hand or on your mouse skates. It's a somewhat denser feeling texture, like softer than the Hien almost, which is very gritty. Some people compare it to sandpaper, and there's just a sharpness when you move your mouse around. And I do feel that the Hien in general is slightly faster than the Mercury. But these are just minor nitpicks. The Mercury is a great option for the $30 price in terms of both quality and performance. Speaking of a great option, the sponsor of this video, Squarespace, an all-in-one platform that allows you to easily build an online presence and run your business. With fully fledged e-commerce, you can sell anything, whether that be physical or virtual goods, services, and even members-only content. Squarespace has it all with hundreds of pre-made templates to help streamline the process. Squarespace provides website analytics that allow you to understand your audience by showing page views, traffic sources, geography, and more, along with detailed commerce analytics for your business. The best part is that Squarespace websites come with built-in tools to take the guesswork out of SEO, and all websites are optimized for viewing on any device. If that sounds good, head to squarespace.com for a 14-day trial, and once you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/boardzy and use code boardzy for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. But Hien clones are a saturated market, and at $30 there are already options like the Odin Infinity and the Razer Strider, which are great quality for the price as well. So if you're wondering if there's a reason to get the Mercury over those, there's not going to be any specific feature. I think of those as the big three of Hien clones, and it's just going to come down to regional availability, because there are just no features of the pad that make it that much better than the other options. I will say that out of the three, the Razer Strider has the roughest texture and is the one that I prefer least personally, but it does have such good availability throughout the world, it is worth mentioning. Getting back to the Mercury, like I said before, I think it's a pretty standard texture if anybody has felt the Artisan Hien or an Artisan Hien competitor. The speed, it definitely plays fast, low initial friction, but not uncontrollably fast. The texture definitely helps add control. I don't remember if I already did a lighter test, but if not, there is not a lot of plush on the Mercury. It's definitely close to the Artisan Mid. And yeah, that's really all I got to say about it. It's 490 by 410 millimeter size, so close to Artisan XL. Good size. I've talked about the Lethal Gaming Gear stitching many times. Incredible quality, and the rubber base, just natural rubber, so nothing insane, but it performs very well, and like I said, in the big three of Hien clones. Next up is going to be the Pulsar Paracontrol, a mousepad from Pulsar, a red square. They also have it available in black, and similar to the Yuki Aim pad, this uses a very controlled feeling surface, similar to the original Aqua Control Plus feeling. And it's definitely higher friction than most other pads that I have talked about, like the Padsmith pad and the Mercury. And that's not a bad thing at all if you are looking for a more controlled Hien clone. It's literally in the name, Paracontrol. This is a good option for $25. I wasn't blown away by the quality. The stitched edges are slightly raised, and there was fraying in a few places, and just a few general inconsistencies. The top was wavy for a few days. It never perfectly lied flat. And overall, this is not a mousepad that I especially like. It doesn't have the highest quality feeling. It's a very firm mousepad as well, and on the thinner side at 3 millimeters, as you can see. Not much give at all, and it's just a controlled textured surface. I prefer speedier textured surfaces normally, but I was still able to adjust to this and perform fine with it. It doesn't really pair that well with Pulsar's glass skates. I know they make other mouse pads. I'll have to try them out. Maybe one of those will work better. But yeah, the Paracontrol is somewhat underwhelming, but a solid option for the price still. Next up is going to be the Odin Infinity V2. So this is actually a somewhat confusing one because there are now colored Odin Infinities. There's blue, pink, purple, white, and red, I believe. So 5 new colors. And the black version, but the black version has updated stitched edges while the colored versions do not. I asked them why. I'll put their answer up on the screen, but that is something to note. You can see the difference in the stitched edge quality between the old batch and the new one. Way lower profile and just better stitching on the black pad. I'm impressed by the quality updates to the black version, and I hope that they can eventually roll those out on the colored versions, but that's something to keep in mind for now if you do want the highest quality experience. I think that the new color options are nice, and they say that they're not coating them in any way, not doing any heat transferring, so it is some different way of applying a color to a mousepad fabric, apparently, so that's always awesome. It's the same surface as before, though, and if you watched my video on the Infinity last year, you know that I loved the texture. This was one of the first Heian clones that really got it right, and it still has a place in its market today, especially with the quality updates to the black version. It is more on par with like 2022 stitching. They say that the colored versions do have increased smoothness. I did notice that while the mouse is in motion, it's less textured, so yeah, I guess that would be increased smoothness compared to the black version, but it's honestly a minor difference and not something where you're going to largely prefer one version over the other, but it is worth mentioning as well. I think the black version with the quality updates is an insanely good deal for $30. Like I said earlier in the video, it's in the big 3 of Heian clones. That really tells you all you need to know. But compared to the Lethal Gaming Gear Mercury, the Infinity does have a bit more grit to it, and it is a slightly thinner mouse pad, so it's more textured and, in my opinion, just slightly closer to an actual Heian. But yeah, both of them are great options for $30. And now time for the last mouse pad of the video. The last pad in this video is a budget banger. It is the Agile Cables desk mat, and for this 900 by 400 desk mat, with the Aqua Control 2 surface, it's only $25. I do personally wish it had a bit more depth to it. I prefer when desk mats are either 450 or 500 millimeters. But honestly, for the price, it's hard to complain about anything on this mousepad. The quality is perfectly good enough. Like, there's a standard natural rubber base, and the stitching is not raised high by any means or abrasive. So it's fine quality-wise. The texture, like I said, it is an OEM surface, but that's nothing to be afraid of, especially when it performs just as well as the Padsmith Mousepad, which also uses a texture very similar to this. The desk mats are 4 millimeters thick and honestly do have a decent amount of plushiness to them. I'll do a super light press down test as well. And I had put a significant amount of time onto this desk mat when I was testing out glass skates and just really liked it a lot. So for $25, it's super underrated. I would go as far as to call it a steal. And yeah, just wanted to put that on some people's radars. There are tons of different like designs and colorways. And that's going to be all for this big mousepad roundup. There's not a lot of innovation right now when it comes to mousepad surfaces. So I kind of wanted to just clump these together into one video. I hope it was useful and you got some information out of it. I would say that out of all of these pads, my personal favorite was the Padsmith. It's just a very unique mousepad because outside of something like an Artisan Zero or Raiden X Soft, you don't get a surface that's so soft and allows you to gain a significant amount of control by applying pressure. It's really nice. I think the design is pretty cool as well. It's rare for me to actually enjoy a mousepad design. So I don't know, it just checks all of the boxes. Like I said before, it is highly priced, but it's a high quality item, and yeah, that was the one that stood out to me. And of course, the Agile Cables pad for the price is fucking insane. Then there were the Hien clones. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, as always, and peace.